All right, moving on to the NFL and a story we meant to get to last week, but we'll go ahead and do it now. Julio Jones, has been some trade rumors circulating around him recently, and those kind of exploded after the on-air phone call between he and Shannon Sharp, in which he said, "Yeah, I'm out of there," in regards to his current team, the Atlanta Falcons. Drink, what was your reaction when you heard the great Shannon Sharp break such news on air, and how do you see this situation playing out?
All right, so first of all, I want to be clear. My man Shannon Sharp, my man 100 grand, you know what I'm saying? Um, and Julio coming from Alabama, got a lot of respect for him as well. I'm, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was a conversation had before this. And I'm going to say I just don't think Shannon Sharp I don't think he would just do a player like that. He just got too much respect for the players. He done played the game. He know how it is. I just don't think he would purposely do that to an NFL player. Now, what I do think miscommunication. Hey, bro, I'm gonna call you while I'm on the show, right? And I'm gonna ask you a few questions. You know what I'm saying? It's your choice if you answer them or not. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he didn't know what questions was gonna be asked, or maybe he didn't know at what time he was gonna call. Maybe he called him at a bad time and Julio shouldn't have answered the phone. I don't know, but it's a lot going on now, right? Because it's like, dang, is Shannon Sharp dry snitching? Did he set Julio up, or is Julio just that crazy to just be like, I don't give a rip. Hey, I'm out of there. So that we will have to unpack that. Now to what we did see. Listen, I heard Shannon call him nephew, and I heard Julio say, "Hey man, listen, So they got a relationship. You hear that clear as day. They have a relationship, and I think Julio got caught in the moment, kind of, and was like, "Listen, man, I'm out of there." Like, honestly, I don't think Julio knew of the ramifications it was gonna be when he said that. Cause it's kind of one of them things you don't know how important you are until you get in that situation. So he says it thinking, "Listen, I'm gonna start receiving on my way out the door, and I'm done with Atlanta. We ain't winning nothing. I'm moving on." But he didn't realize the implications it was gonna have for Fox, and for the Falcons, and for whatever team they wanted, and for him, as the same. Like, he didn't understand that. At the end of the day, though, listen. The man said what he said. His name is his name, and he made it very clear. I'm out of here. I don't want to be here no more. I want to go somewhere and win. Now, for those of you that do not know about the interview, the initial question that was asked was, would Julio Jones consider going to the Cowboys? That was the whole reason Shannon Sharp was supposed to call Julio, and then it kind of went off the rails. But it was to take a dig at at Skip Bayless, because Skip Bayless said, "Oh, Julio can come. He can come to the Cowboys. We can use him like Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup and C.D. Lamb and like I don't know, but
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. Like, so Skip being the Cowboy fan that he is, he's kind of egging it on. So Shannon say, "Hey, you know what? I just called him. Boom, boom. Hey, nephew, what you think about going to Cowboys?" "Nah, man, I ain't doing that." "All right, cool." And then he made his comment about the Falcons. And listen, to Julio credit, he was honest. He said, "I want to win." He didn't say he wanted to go to a specific team. He didn't say he cared about this, that, and that. He said, "I want to win." Because Julio has been to the cusp of a Super Bowl ring and just felt it get grabbed out of his hand. He's tired of being one of the best receivers, one of the top guys. He want to be a winning one of the top guys. So, it's still a lot to unpack, but I just gotta, I gotta believe Shannon wouldn't do that to an NFL player on purpose. I just think it was a miscommunication, and some words got minced, and Julio said a little more than he was supposed to, and it is what it is. We know it hurts the Falcons, it hurts Fox Sports, it hurts a lot of people, but listen, at the end of the day, this what we do know. He don't want to be in Atlanta no more, so you can't lie to us about that no more. And what we do know is he want to go to a contender, so you can't lie about that. I don't want to hear no Jets. Nope, nope, we ain't hearing no Jets, folks. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear no Lions. No, 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 no. We don't want to hear that. He said he want to win. So that lets me know that whatever team he goes to will be at bare minimum a playoff team. Bare minimum, you're gonna be a playoff team, and he's hoping to go to a better, whatever the situation unfolds, but a team that give him a shot to get back to the Super Bowl. So with that said, listen, hey Julio, it's a team out there, the Ravens. One of the biggest knocks we got on them is Lamar Jackson ain't got enough help throwing the ball down the field. You just might be that guy to get him over the hump. Just imagine you, Lamar, Super Bowl. I'm just saying that seems pretty good to me. Another one, I ain't gonna steal your thunder, but it's another team that we talked about that you said seems good for him. And like I said, listen, I know he flirted with the idea of going to Seattle. Now, you made a good point, so I will backtrack a little bit. I was all for the Seattle thing until I actually sat down and thought, hey, you got a point. DJ Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, those guys are pretty good. I wouldn't mess with that dynamic. I was over my skis, as Colin Cowherd said, with that one. But we'll see how this play out. But I think Julio deserves the right to say he's out of there, to be honest with you. I think he deserves the right. Julio has been a cornerstone. They traded up in the 2008 draft to get Julio. He's been worth everything that they didn't ask for. A wide receiver can't do. This is why quarterbacks get paid more than anybody, because the quarterbacks are the brains of the operation. But as far as just a pure wide receiver standpoint, Julio has done his job. We seen him in that Super Bowl. He was doing his job. It's not his fault that they lost that Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? And now he just want to get back to winning. He's tired of this crap they put in Atlanta where they're just in the middle. He's tired of it. He's tired of treading the water. So I'm not mad at it. Julio, you did the right thing. Let them know what they know so they know.
Sure. I'll tell you one thing. Sure makes for great television. I hope, as you say, that this was, Shannon Sharp and him had talked before, and this wasn't just purely cold cut. He called him up and said, "Hey, Julio, you trying to go to Dallas? Skip want to know." If I was Julio, I'd be like, "Ain't you on air right now? Ain't you doing the
Right,
show?"
right, and that's my point. That's my point. I think Julio would have asked that. That's
Yeah.
why I think some type of conversation happened before he made the call.
And maybe there was, and probably hopefully was for the good of everybody, because I don't probably not, even though I think it's pretty entertaining, probably not the best look of we just calling up players in the middle of segments to like, "Hey, you trying to leave Atlanta?"
Right.
But I think we've known for a while that Julio Jones wanted out of there. I think there's a old report I just pulled up of like, yeah, he asked him, he requested a trade formally in March. He tired of being there. We talked about this with Atlanta. They've been on that a little slide recently. They kind of just treading water, mediocre. They got Matt Ryan. He's still putting up them nice numbers, but they're not translating into wins. The defense just can't get it together. Now you got a new coaching staff in there with Arthur Smith, and I do wonder, could this be the first domino to fall to where they kind of really revamp and maybe even rebuild this thing? Because I don't think, I know one thing we talked about. They added Kyle Pitts in the first round to be their tight end, and we automatically, I mean, that's nice, but that ain't fixing your defense.
Right.
So I wonder if you trade Julio Jones, what does that mean for the team going forward? Because he's been their best player for years now. He's been a top three wide receiver for years now. Been multiple time All Pro, perennial Pro Bowler. You know as well as I do, he's one of the best receivers in this game.
Right.
But and then another thing comes up, the age now. He's approaching 33 years of age, and if he doesn't have I mean, he doesn't look at Atlanta as an opportunity for him to win right now. He had that opportunity a few years ago, um, and they had one of the most historic collapses we've seen. And then when you talk about, where could he go? The odds have, one of the odds makers that I'm looking at right now has got Seattle as the top, but it does seem like a bit much. Julio Jones, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. That's pretty crowded, and not that we haven't seen great trios of wide receivers, but if I'm Seattle, I don't know if that's necessarily what I need to get me over the top. I probably need a little bit more up front on both sides of the ball, maybe a little extra help in the secondary. It's probably not at linebacker. You're probably okay there.
Yeah,
But
probably. Yeah.
I think Baltimore, that could make a little bit of sense. It would be a change of pace from what we've seen lately, but let's not forget they made an effort this year. They drafted Rashad Bateman in Minnesota. I think that's
Listen,
gonna.
that ain't Julio.
It's not
That ain't
Julio
Julio.
Jones. It's not Julio Jones, but I think it will help them. And we do know already that no matter what, Baltimore is going to be a run first offense. We got to take that into some consideration. But I think New England. I've seen some rumors of Julio Jones wanting to go play with Cam Newton. Well, we don't know with what New England's done with drafting Mac Jones. I don't think we know for sure who's going to be the quarterback there. But I think New England's done some great things in this offseason. I thought their free agency, they went hard in free agency, and they brought in a lot of contributors on both sides. They got the tight end position down pat. I like their backfield. I think one of the areas that they could, use a little more juice is wide receiver, and New England's not far away. Cam Newton played pretty, at least from a standpoint of passing the football. He was pretty awful last year, and they still was just a touch under 500. So I think it ain't gonna take much to get New England back in the playoff hunt. I think Julio Jones would do that. And I'll give you one more sleeper idea. Um, you know how I feel about Brian Gutekunst and what he's doing up there in Green Bay. I'm not pleased at all. But I do wonder, and I don't know if he's got the wherewithal to get this done. And we know they already got one superstar receiver, Devontae Adams. Um, but we also know that they haven't done the best job at giving Devontae Adams help, and a byproduct giving Aaron Rodgers help. It's hard to do it with just one guy all the time that you rely on. They got other contributors, but we're always wondering who gonna be next this week. Gonna be Alan Lazard, Valdez Scantling, list goes on and on. Could you get Aaron Rodgers back in the fold with Julio Jones coming to town? I'd be interested. I'd be interested in knowing if you are Brian Gutekunst and you're looking in the mirror and you're like, man, I didn't jack this all up. I'm flopping around. They flopping around out there in OTAs with Jordan Love out there. Aaron Rodgers, we don't even know where he is, but he ain't here getting in some work. We gonna be in trouble real quick. Maybe Jordan Love can play, maybe he can't. But I'd be interested to know. I would get Aaron Rodgers on the phone, and be like, hey, what if we bring in Julio Jones? You come back for that? I don't know. I think it's worth considering if you realize, man, I made a mistake.